Welcome back to another Couch Potato General Manager video. Drew, we have another mock draft. Your last one was back during November, Thanksgiving edition. We're going to do a New Year's edition. Obviously, you have some new information, quite a few changes in your mock draft. Really excited to get into this one. I think the picture is becoming a bit clearer. Obviously, we're using the draft order going into week 17 of the NFL season. Of course, there's 18 weeks now. But before we do that, I want you guys to take a look at that link in the description for our BetUS affiliate. If you guys are interested on placing a wager on any of the NFL games or any sport for that matter. So use that link in the description, open up an account. You should be able to get a little bit of a discount as well. Check out our BetUS affiliate link in the description. So Drew, obviously, like I mentioned at the top, things are coming into focus a little bit more. I think you've gone back to the drawing board to a certain degree here, kind of reconfigured our approach. Last time around, you had quarterbacks going off the board left and right. Slightly doesn't do it justice. A very different approach this time around, right?
I reeled it back. Yeah.
Big time changes. One of the biggest changes, and I think this may come as a surprise to certain folks, is Ikem Ekwonu, the offensive tackle, the big nasty guy out of NC State. You have him going first overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you didn't have him in your first round, the first time around. So what's changed for you there?
I think I just missed him. I think I just missed him.
A faux pas? You had a little bit of a faux pas the first time around?
Okay. He wouldn't have been high up the board either. He wouldn't have been high up on that mock either way, but he should have been in there. So, but the biggest thing here for me is Jacksonville, man. Listen, people probably gonna kill me down in the comment section. How could you not have Huston? How could you not have Thibodeau? I get it, right? But to me, it's either offensive tackle or it's an edge player for them. End of story. Because you got to protect your quarterback and you got to rush the passer, right? But for me, I got to protect my quarterback, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It starts with that offense and your quarterback, and we know what the season as it is going now, what it looked like. Coach is out, just a disaster. It was a train wreck. And it's for me, in terms of that team, it's just hit reset. Just the button on the Super Nintendo. You just hit the little thing, or on the NES, bro. You just hit and it just resets, bro. We gotta hit the reset button. Act like last year didn't happen, and just move on. And we gotta protect the quarterback, man. I'm comfortable with this pick. Very comfortable with this pick. If it went one of the edge players, I'm comfortable as well. But I'm more comfortable knowing that, hey, this is a guy that will protect my quarterback. And he will also punish defenders that want to get anywhere near my quarterback.
Absolutely. He mauls guys out there. Is there any other offensive tackle? I mean, obviously the names that we see most frequently associated with the top overall pick, non-quarterback would be Thibodeau of Oregon, Hutchinson of Michigan. Is there any other offensive tackle that you think has a shot going first overall?
The big talk, everybody loves Evan Neal. Alabama, I get it. Is a possibility. Who else do I have on here? I like Charles Cross. But I think just in terms of what Jacksonville should be doing, for me, it's one of the two, either Icky or Evan Neal, because they're big monster men, mountain of men. And to me, they need to be running the football, not throwing the football, because out there on the perimeter, it's not good, bro.
Laquan Treadwell, my guy. That was receiver one.
Stop.
Listen. Our approach to evaluating talent obviously has become more refined over the years. But it was receiver one, man. Still receiver one, man. We call it what it is.
It was bad, bro. And there was an interview that I listened to with him and I think it was Mel Kiper, and I think Todd McShay was on there, and I was listening to it. And he just wasn't confident. And I should have reeled it back then. You know what I mean? But I was like, nah, stick with it. You know what I mean? And he's the definition of a bust.
Still in the league, though, because I had your boy from Baylor. Never doing that again.
Oh. Oh, man, hurt.
The second overall pick, you have the Detroit Lions on the clock. Obviously, they've gotten a couple of wins. Really proud of the Detroit Lions. Love what they're doing there with Campbell, and then, of course, Brad Holmes in that front office. I had a feeling going into this season that, it wouldn't be pretty, but I like the brain trust that they had there. They had their struggles. They've certainly been competitive more often than not, but they got to add talent, and you have them taking Kayvon Thibodeau of Oregon, the edge rusher. Again, a lot of people have him going first overall, maybe second overall, if Hutchinson is going number one. In this case, you have Thibodeau over Hutchinson. Why do you like Thibodeau here?
I think I like the fit, man. I just think I like the fit in terms of him coming off the edge with the explosion. Not that that Hutchinson doesn't have that, but there's a little bit more flash in the pan with Thibodeau. To me, I know we can argue down in the comment section. That's fine. But I think this team needs that. I think they're lacking that all over the place. And defensively, let's just start there. They obviously Detroit has another pick in the first round. So, if we'll find out down a little bit further down what they do with that. But I think that this is the player that they need on that team.
Hutchinson, you have him going 3rd overall to the Houston Texans. And again, your first time around, you had Malik Willis going to Detroit, and then you had Kenny Pickett going to Houston. Of course, you've done a 180 here, and you're going edge rusher. Why that change?
No, I'm appease the people in the comment section. No, that's not what I'm doing. No, not at all.
Doing it for the likes? You're doing it for the likes?
Hey, y'all, don't forget to hit that like button. I don't think he goes past 3, just in general, unless, like you said, he plays face plants. And with the quarterback situation, unless the Senior Bowl pumps some people up into the first round, I think that Houston will have an opportunity to grab somebody in the second round because they'll be at the top of that bad boy too. So, and you can't pass up a talent like Hutchinson. Like you said, man, the technique. I don't know who the D-line coach is over there. I need to find out who that is because there's another guy on this list that he a technician too. he ain't quite the guy that Hutchinson is, but he's a technician too. So
yeah. The way Davis Mills has acquitted himself, the reports out of Houston is saying that they're not necessarily, considering the way he's played here. Once they made him the full-time starter and really get a good look at him, they're not necessarily in the market. Pressing need, because I think they realize that there's so many other things that they need to address. And even when we were evaluating Davis Mills, you could see the flashes. It wasn't enough. There was sparse tape on him, but you could certainly see the flashes. That's why he was selected in the 3rd round, because he had a professional arm. You know what I mean? Right. Now it's about the mental processing, and like I said, he's gotten better. To me, he's improved every week. As far as Detroit's concerned, we're going to get to their second pick, but I think, to your point, the value that Thibodeau or Hutchinson presents in relation to the quarterback situation, again, assuming somebody doesn't blow it out of the park during the offseason process, right? It's a little too much to pass up. And you can see with some competent receiver play, Detroit can actually move the football. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there are other elements to these two teams that need to be addressed in order for a quarterback to, in my opinion, to be successful. Right. And I think these organizations, and according to your mock draft, you're kind of taking that approach as well. But the first of 2 first-round picks, 2 top 6 picks, you have the New York Jets selecting cornerback Andrew Booth of Clemson. Why is Booth your first corner off the board?
He's my favorite.
Okay.
He's my favorite.
Fair enough.
I know the PFF guys and would argue against that. And some people that have loved Stingley since the beginning, since he's arrived at LSU. Since the
beginning of time, yes.
Yeah, since the beginning of time. But there's just something. There's a smoothness, a swagger about him that I like. He's long. He plays to his body, size. He plays to it. And the Jets need a corner, right? And you're playing with Robert Saleh and the cover 3. Not necessarily that they play that at
Clemson
overwhelmingly, but it fits the mold of what I know Saleh wants to do over there. So I think this guy is the guy for them.
I look at what Dallas has done with Trayvon Diggs, and of course Diggs. He didn't test out of the gym in terms of his speed, right? But there's so much value. There's so much value in terms of a guy who has that kind of ball skills, and Andrew Booth has the ball skills. They're off the charts. Easy. I think stealing possessions, creating short fields for your offense. I think as much as that whole notion of being a lockdown corner is appreciated and loved, a guy who can turn the football over, who makes you pay when you attack it. He might give up a little something here or there, but he comes up with the ball frequently, right? He plays the position almost as if he's a receiver. I in my evaluation, and I am with you. Andrew Booth is also my favorite corner in this class, with a close second being Sauce Gardner. Derek Stingley, obviously, the technique, the pedigree, all of that is there, but in terms of being able to turn defense into offense, no one does it quite like Andrew Booth. So I really like the pick as well, and I think you can get a bump for that, even though you may not necessarily be, again, the quintessential lockdown man-to-man guy. I think guys like Xavier Howard and those guys, they have an opportunity to improve their technique, but you cannot teach those ball skills. You cannot, absolutely not. All right, with the 5th overall pick, the New York Giants, again, the first of their 2 first-round selections, you have them selecting George Karlaftis. Now, this one hasn't changed, if I'm not mistaken, from your November mock to now. You like Karlaftis, he's locked in, he's a top 5 guy for you. But people aren't talking about him, obviously, in the same way they're talking about Hutchinson and Thibodeau. Why is that, and why Karlaftis here?
So I'm not really sure why they're not talking about him. Maybe because he plays for Purdue. I don't really know, man. But when I watch the tape, man, he's a bull in a china chop coming off the edge. He's a guy you can throw inside, uses his hands very well. And listen, the Giants got 2 D tackles that are nice, but I need me a guy on the outside that can do damage from that end as well. I don't think that you can pass up a guy like Karlaftis here. I just think that Giants defense isn't bad. Like I think it's actually a good defense. It's just they lack that guy coming off the edge that teams have to worry about. They're lacking that little piece right there. If they can get that, and you can talk about this defense being one of the best in the league consistently from week to week.
I don't dislike the selection, and I want to get into the Giants a little bit more. I want to talk about last year's draft in relation to this draft. So we do have Karlaftis coming off the board. Pair him up with Azeez Ojulari on the edges. As you mentioned, you got some good defensive tackles on the inside there. You actually have a position of strength now. Definitely. With the 6th overall pick, the Giants, or rather the Jets, are making their 2nd of 2 first-round picks. And you have them selecting Chris Olave. This is the pick that they get in the Jamal Adams trade. And you have Olave, not only is he a top 10 pick, but you have him as the first receiver off the board.
The brother's smooth, man.
He is nice.
The brother's smooth.
He is nice.
And I need my guy Zach Wilson. He needs some help, man. He can't do it by himself. And I know Elijah Moore started to come on towards the end of the season. I know he's obviously injured early on. Took him a little bit to kind of get warmed up. But they need guys they can pair with him, and this is a guy they can do that with. This is a guy that's going to get open, right? And listen, that receiving core that they have was bad. You got guys out here dropping passes when Wilson finally had some time or made some time. You need guys who are going to be consistent and he can count on. And you can't run out there with that same team you had last year. You can't do it on the perimeter, bro. I can't. No, because I can't evaluate my quarterback, right?
Sure.
I can't do it. So, and hopefully they get Becton back healthy and let's run it.
If you have a Corey Davis, Olave, and Moore as your top 3 receivers, to your point, you get a much better look at Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson has had his fair share of struggles, but certainly the supporting cast hasn't helped him a lot either. 7th overall pick, you have the Carolina Panthers. Did the Panthers select 7th or was it 8th last year?
I think it was 8th.
Yeah.
It was 8th.
Yeah, it got worse, unfortunately, for the Panthers. You have them selecting Evan Neal, and I think this is a slam dunk pick. I actually liked, as much as I liked Horn, I thought Rashawn Slater was the right guy for this team last year. I thought the offensive line is something that they needed to get addressed more so than anything else, but they just kept on going to the well on the defensive side of the ball, which is fine. Horn is a great player, but they get it right in terms of their offensive line here with Neal. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so obviously you could have gone quarterback here, but I think you got to fix the offensive line before anything else. I don't think it doesn't matter who you put back there. Obviously, their defense is, as far as I'm concerned, is ready to go. The offense needs to pull their weight, right? And it starts up front. Receiving core, I think, is okay. I think they're kind of coming along, if you will. Just need Christian McCaffrey back and a hole, and need a guy to open up a hole for him so he can do what he do, right? And you got to be able to protect whoever the quarterback is. I know we're not fans of Sammy the Savior over there, but he didn't have much help from that offensive line. Actually, it's got worse since game 1. Every week it just gets worse and worse and worse. And you got Joe Brady who got fired, and it's a new offense now, or a similar offense that's being ran now. What's going to happen in the offseason? But one thing I do know, it doesn't matter who you bring in as the offensive coordinator, you got to be able to protect your quarterback and open up holes for your running back, man, period.
Definitely. With the 8th overall pick, the Giants making the 2nd of their 2 first-round picks. And this one is actually from Chicago, in terms of Chicago trading up to get Justin Fields. You have them selecting a quarterback. So obviously the tea leaves suggest that Daniel Jones will be back next year. Right. I think that falls squarely in terms of who comes back in terms of that front office and that coaching staff, right? Are they going to bring in a new GM, and is he going to hitch his wagon to Joe Judge, or is it going to be a complete reset, or does Gettleman, the Ghetto Man, get another year. Either way,
Nah.
since you're making the call here, you're going with Malik Willis, a guy that you feel is the most talented of the quarterbacks in this class.
Yeah, let's do the right thing. I like Daniel Jones, and I don't know that they've done this guy I think they've done him a disservice, if you will. But
How so?
Just everything that's going on there, man. The draft picks. I don't know that I don't think they've done the best they can for him in terms of surrounding with all the talent. In terms of the offensive line is kind of.
Here's my thoughts with respect to that. The Nate Solder thing hasn't worked out the way you planned it. The big free agent acquisition. You took Andrew Thomas very early. All right. And Thomas has turned a corner from year 1 to year 2. He's a better player, but you still got question marks along that offensive line. The whole Matt Pert thing is, shaky. Will Hernandez, the guys that we thought was going to be a plug and play guard, has really struggled. I thought the Kadarius Toney pick was a luxury pick. That's what I thought. And I know there's going to be some changes in terms of this receiving core going into next season, but I thought they had an opportunity to really solidify that offensive line. Even in trading down, I thought they could have done a better job of improving the offensive line. So that's why I wanted to take it back to that, to then ask you, Karlaftis. Again, I love the player. But if Evan Neal is on the board there,
you take him there?
I think you take him there. I really do, because you mentioned it. The Giants, yes, they can obviously use more teeth in terms of their pass rush on the defensive side of the ball, some playmakers. But to me, you have to. We always say it here at Couch Potato General Manager. The offensive line is the most important position group. Get it right. If Evan Neal is perhaps the surest thing there is in this class in terms of offensive line, offensive tackle in particular, right? And he's on the board at 5. I think you bookend him with Andrew Thomas, and now we're really working with something. Now we can get Saquon on the edges. Now we can start to be more competitive on the offensive side of the ball, man. They're already competitive defensively. They can improve there. And if you love Karlaftis, I certainly understand it. But I'm hard pressed passing up Neal with respect to that offensive line.
So let me ask. So you go Evan Neal 5, and then you go you go at 8. You go QB. Okay.
I'm going QB.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. I'm perfectly fine with Malik Willis at 8 if he's there. Perfectly fine. But I need somebody to protect him. Daniel Jones' situation not being great. I don't think it's been a question about the weapons per se. I think you can question the offensive line. I think you can question the play caller. And then, of course, Daniel Jones as well. Daniel Jones turns the ball over too much. That's on him. That's on him.
That is on him.
And I'll be honest with you, I've seen enough.
Seen enough to sit? It's a wrap?
Yeah, like I said, if I'm a GM, I want my guy. If I don't feel like there's a better option in the class, then okay, we'll ride with Daniel Jones another year, right?
Right.
But if I feel, especially with 2 first-round picks, if I feel like, okay, if we can solidify this offensive line, we got enough talent on the perimeter. Barkley is another year removed from his injury. Hopefully he gets back to being the explosive playmaker that he is, right? If I got Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal now booked in an attack, I feel good about it. I feel good about it at that juncture. With the 9th overall pick, you have the Washington football team selecting safety Kyle Hamilton. Now, some would argue this is the best prospect in the class. What are your thoughts?
Seeing some people draft boards, I'm like, can you put a safety there? I guess I'm not going. All right, I get it.
It don't mean you draft him at the top, but he might be the best player.
Right. I think that the football team, I always got to pause and think about it. The football team, I think this is a slam dunk for them. Insert him into that team in terms of that secondary and that second level. This is a guy who can play at the second level. It's a guy who can play back behind everyone else as the lone safety. Earl Thomas, Ed Reed, I've heard, combination of both players. And I think this is, if he's here for Washington, I don't see a scenario where they go anywhere else. Maybe outside of, I don't know, some people may be screaming quarterback, but I don't think Heineke's played that bad that you go quarterback here. I think.
I know that's your boy. I like
him.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think you can pass him up here. I think he'd be a fool too.
All right. And then rounding out the top 10, you have the Atlanta Falcons selecting big D tackle, nose tackle Jordan Davis of Georgia. And I have questions about this pick. But go ahead.
Okay.
Let me hear your thoughts on it.
So I'm pairing him up with next
Grady?
to Grady Jarrett. Yeah, man. Let's sure things
No,
up.
no. I understand that. I certainly understand that. I do understand that. However, Jordan Davis, in my evaluation thus far, he strikes me as a 2-down player.
That's what you think?
I'm seeing. You know what did it for me? He is a dominant 2-down player. Make no mistake about that. And I am not so modern to think that your 2-down players can't be selected early, right? Because to me, you set yourself up for success if you can control the line of scrimmage on first and second down, right?
Right.
But I watched Alabama in that SEC championship game just tire him out. They just tired it, and he wasn't getting any movement. He wasn't collapsing the pocket. Bryce Young had so much time, despite all the talent that Georgia has. I was expecting him to be a disrupting force, to free up guys with their one-on-ones and they completely eliminated him. Now, is it fair to dock him so much off of one contest? No, not necessarily. But my concern is conditioning. My concern is how many quality snaps am I going to get from him? You know what I mean? And if I'm taking him top 10, I need a guy who's going to be on the field. You understand what I'm saying?
So for me, this is a guy who I think can take on the double teams, that can free up everyone else on that line of scrimmage, right?
Yes.
And like you said in that Alabama game, it was unfortunate. I just think the defense in general was they met their match, right? They couldn't get any pressure for whatever reason. It was bad. So I think going to the Atlanta Falcons paired up next to someone who can actually rush the passer from the inside, and you know what I'm saying? I think that's a match made in heaven for me.
Okay, fair enough. Let me ask you this before we move on: Christian Barmore or Jordan Davis?
Barmore, bro.
Yep.
Barmore, bro.
Yep. And Barmore went in the second round. He went in the second round.
Yeah, but didn't he have some issues or something? Character, like they like to establish character issues.
I think collectively the draft community of the NFL, they thought the interior pass rush
was bad.
The available prospects weren't very high, but Barmore to me had a first-round grade. He had a first-round grade.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's and I guess that's my point, is that if a guy like Barmore, who actually gives you the 3-down chops, right, gets pushed down, I get it. I know you like the match made in heaven. I know you like the pairing there. I would be hard pressed to take Jordan Davis this early, personally. With the 11th overall pick, you have the Denver Broncos going to addressing their offensive line with Darian Kennard of Kentucky. Now, there are a handful of other offensive tackles that I think most people would anticipate would go before Kennard. Why are you selecting Kennard here?
So I like Kennard here because what I think Denver should be doing, right? I think this is a football team that wants to throw the football down the field, but I think it starts with the run. And when you got those two running backs that they got there, you gotta run the ball. You gotta tote it. You know what I mean? And then hit them verticals with the receivers and the tight end, who they usually forget about, down the field, right? And I think Kennard is
started.
That's why I said
started on that.
And to me, Kennard is one of the best run blocking offensive linemen in college football, and I think this is what they need to be doing now. Now, some may argue, hey, Denver should be passing and go with a more prototypical passing offensive lineman, tackle guard, whatever you want to call it. But to me, I think this team needs to be running the football. I hope they understand that, they get the message. And there's an opportunity that these guys could be, some people saying, why not go quarterback? Y'all may be in the market for Aaron Rodgers.
See, and that's where I was going to go next. So let's think about it. So Javonte Williams, I believe, is your starting running back going into next season. Melvin Gordon may test free agency. I'm not sure if they're going to re-up Melvin Gordon, right? There could be a Russell Wilson situation. There could be an Aaron Rodgers situation. Are you still going Darian Kennard under those circumstances?
Yeah, I gotta protect him.
Yeah. Give it some thought. Think about it. Because if you're talking about protecting those guys, are we talking Charles Cross at this time? Maybe consider going in a different direction under those circumstances.
Yeah, I probably.
Because you're not going to be as run heavy. Let's just call it what it is. With those guys, you're not going to be as run heavy.
Or I may go a pass rusher. at that point. So it depends on who the quarterback, who we're eyeing for quarterback is what would make me make my decision there.
Okay. 12th overall pick, Minnesota Vikings are on the clock, and you have them selecting cornerback Derek Stingley. Now, of course, Stingley was out this season. You mentioned it earlier. Stingley has been considered a top corner from the moment he arrived in Baton Rouge. From the moment he stepped on campus, one of the highest rated prospects coming out of high school. He has been ballyhooed, to the nth degree. Now, of course, he's taken on the biggest and the best, you know what I'm saying, in terms of receivers. And he's had, a mixed bag of results, but clearly you can see the skill, the advanced technique. He has all of the athleticism in the world. But I'll be honest with you, I feel like there's something missing from Stingley. Do you disagree with that notion? I don't know if it's competitiveness. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it.
I think
something's missing.
You hit it nail on the head. And for me, I think it might be just it's. I don't know if it's because
the expectations are too high. I don't know.
No, I think it's he may fall into that category of things are too easy. I'm too good. And you just fall asleep.
I got you.
Right?
What you're saying.
That's kind of what I see on
that
film.
That might be it.
You know what I mean? And when you come into the league, that's not going to happen.
No,
like you get the best of everybody every week. You know what I mean? So these are the best of the best.
You're going to get burned. You're going to get burned, and then you got to snap out of it. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And for me, the reason I went Stingley here versus going with Sauce is I think because Stingley's so technically sound, I think there's less that needs to be pressed upon at that position in terms of, hey, let's bring this guy in. He's got these things that we need to work on. And I think the amount of time it would take for him to reach his peak is much quicker, and it's less that you have to show him. You know what I'm saying? Because how many corners has Zim went through, bro? Like, how many?
It may not be Zim no more, man.
It might not be.
But they definitely need to address the corner position. They definitely need to address
So let's get a guy in here who, hey, this is what we want you to do, and he's going to do it from day one versus
the learning curve.
Right. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. Learning curve.
With the 13th overall pick, you have the New Orleans Saints selecting Treylon Burks of Arkansas, big time receiver. I think he could end up being the first receiver off the board based on the way he's in the test. You know what I'm saying? When you have that size, speed complement, obviously you can see on tape what he does after the catch. Yeah, Olave certainly is a more polished route runner. You know what I mean? There's more nuance to his game, but just the sheer physical profile of Burke, I think may vault him into the top 10. And he talked about it many, many times. New Orleans Saints just have not done enough in terms of outfitting that roster with skill position guys on the offensive side of the ball. This goes a long way, especially with the Michael Thomas situation in limbo. I don't know what's going to happen there.
Right.
What do you like about Burks?
Right, you just said it all.
Okay,
I mean, the big playability, his ability to go up and get the football. Like there's nothing that he can't do, right? And the Saints, they need more than just guys that can do. That's a speed guy or a possession guy. They need a guy that can do everything. This guy can do it all. Right, line them up anywhere, and Sean Payton, he's a genius in terms of offense. So this is a little piece you can play with. You got Kamara who's a piece, and now you got this guy who's a piece, and then you kind of plug everying else in, right? And if Michael Thomas is there, it's a bonus, right?
Right.
But they gotta stop with the bullshit, bro. Stop it. Get a guy that can help this football team. And listen, I'm a Bucs fan. I don't want to see this guy on this team, but at the same time, as a football fan, like, can we please? Because you're in a situation where right now where your quarterback is an issue, but not only is your quarterback, your receivers don't help, right? So I can only draw it up so many times. I can only put so many X's and O's on the board before I realize, hey, we don't have it. We don't have the juice, right? Mm-hmm. This guy is the horse, bro. Let's go. Him and Kamara, let's get it.
I think you made a great point in terms of, you got all these specialized guys, and they've done that for a long time, right? You can go back to the Robert Meachams and the Jeffrey Hendersons, and you know what I'm saying? Then you had DeMarcus Colston as you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody had that individual role. Go get that all-purpose guy. You know what I'm saying? Make your life a little bit easier. And as a play caller, the things you can do with a guy like that, you know what I mean? We already consider Sean Payton one of the elite play callers, offensive minds in the league. Just go get that all-around talent. You know what I mean? With the 14th overall pick, Cleveland Browns are on the clock, and they too are opting for receiver. You have them selecting Garrett Wilson. Now, Guys, before Drew gets into his spiel on Garrett Wilson, I'm a big Garrett Wilson fan. I actually wrote a piece comparing both Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson in terms of who might come off the board first at NFLmocks.com. That link is in the description, guys. Check that out. Let me know what you think about it. But Drew, your thoughts on this? I like I said, I want people to go and check out what I wrote at NFL Mocks.
You don't want to give too much away?
I don't want to give up too much away, but I like Wilson a little bit more than Olave. I like him a little bit more than Olave. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I didn't read the piece, so I'm gonna go over there and check it out. But I'm gonna guess here why you like him more, right? It's the big playability after the catch. He may give you a little bit more spice in the pan, a little bit more pepper, a little bit more cayenne, whatever you want to call it. And listen, the Cleveland Browns. I mean, I know Baker. I guess Baker is what he is at this point. But I do think they need help out there in on the perimeter, on the outside. They need somebody that is, again, with these Ohio State receivers, they are very reliable. And I think, and don't miss games. And I think Cleveland Browns need that. Like they got coming into the season, we thought, hey man, this is the dream team. You know what I'm saying? And whether it would be for injury or bad quarterback play, or you ain't got no receivers because of you know what. Listen, you need a guy that's going to be reliable, and listen, Garrett Wilson is. There's a couple special guys in this receiving core for coming into this draft, and he's one of them.
Yeah, I don't know much about Garrett Wilson's makeup per se, but just the player I see on the field, there's no diva. I don't get that sense. And in Cleveland, what they want to do, Stefanski wants to run the football. He wants to run the football, and he wants to do a little play action off of that, right? That's really what he wants to do, and that's where Baker tends to be the most effective. When Baker has to drop back and put it on his right shoulder, we just haven't seen good enough. You know what I mean? The falling out ultimately with Odell's dad. Landry obviously continues to be very, very reliable for the most part, but I think his contract is coming to an end, or rather they might decide to move on from Landry. I think they have the complementary pieces in terms of their passing game. They need the number one, and I think Wilson can be that guy. So I really like this pick. 15th overall pick, Pittsburgh, doing the right thing for a change. Addressing the offensive line, you have them selecting Kenyon Green of Texas A&M.
Yeah, and this is a guy, and the next guy coming off the board. These are guys from the same school, by the way. The two guys here, you can put them anywhere on the line, and they're going to play. So for me, this is easy, right? I know obviously they're going to need a quarterback, but at the same time, offensive line play was poor for this football team, and this is a guy who has played all the positions. Just wherever we need him, that's what we're going to put him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it matters in terms of where you play him. I think he may be a better guard than tackle, but we could argue that later. But he just gotta slide him in, bro. Just slide him in, and we'll figure out the quarterback piece later. Because I think maybe Pittsburgh will be able to scoop somebody later in the draft or trade up in some cases. You're
thinking, either trading up or go with the veteran. Go get into that Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. Yeah. Potentially. Okay.
Yeah. Because listen, you can't draft who you drafted last year, Najee Harris, and him be like struggling. Like that doesn't make sense, bro.
I told you, bro.
Like what are we doing, bro?
I told you, bro. Creed Humphrey.
Like they're backwards, bro. You was ass backwards,
bro. We had this conversation. We had this. And I'm gonna play it on the tape. Because we had this conversation. I'm gonna play the tape. I said you were like, well, we'll get a running back to help that offensive line, right? That's what you said, right?
I did. But looking at it now, fast forward a couple months, it's like, yeah, that was wrong. Wrong.
Oh, man. 16th overall pick, we have Green's teammate, DeMarvin Leal of Texas A&M defensive lineman. I don't know where to put him. Like you said, he could play anywhere. I'm not sure where to put him. But you have him going to the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, and these boys can't stop the run. It's bad. Like, how you got all that talent, bro? Y'all can't do the one thing that you need to do as a defense, at the very least, is to stop the run.
Rex Burkhead.
Stop it, bro. Listen. Just plug him in and fit him in, because he's going to help either way. And because of what Staley wants to do in terms of, how he wants to play that scheme, I think this is a guy that can do that. And he's a guy who, Leal's a guy you can move around. So if this guy's hurt or we want to get the best front three, front four, whatever it is that you're running up front out there, he allows you to do that.
17th overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders. selecting Jahan Dotson, receiver from Penn State.
Yeah, man. You know he's the replacement for. We're not going to talk too much about him, but since he's been gone, the Raiders have, lost more than they've won. It hasn't been pretty. It's been bad. And this is a guy who not only can do the short to intermediate, but it's a guy who can not only do the deep stuff, but can win short to intermediate. And I said it in the last mock, and I'm going to continue to say it until somebody talks me down off the ledge. I think he's very similar in terms of his ability. Odell, you got it.
Yeah.
Like he's just similar. He's not quite. I don't think he's quite the.
He's a baller, bro. He's a baller. He's not that much smaller than Odell, but he's going to be a problem. I think he's going to be a problem, and I really like this pick. I mean, when you think about Olave, Wilson, Burks all being off the board, and then you end up your consolation prize is Jahan Dotson. That's okay. I can live with that.
Yeah. Maybe, I think the number's a little bit closer than that.
Maybe a little bit closer than that. Yeah, to your point, that Raiders offense has looked pedestrian.
Yeah.
To put it nicely, since of course Ruggs off fuel issue, as well as the injury to Darren Waller, was basically robbed him most of the season. Yep. That it's like paint. It's like watching paint dry. Although they got the running game going, I like to see them get the running game going. But of course, there appears to be a reset on the way in Las Vegas as well. So there's the Derek Carr card to fall as well. That domino has to fall as well. So we'll be interesting to see. But certainly if they stick with Carr at least another year, bring in Dotson, perhaps you make a play for Devontae Adams, and then now this is pizzazz. Now we're talking about a Picasso, not just a white wall, white, paint on some drywall. You understand what I'm saying? A mock draft, the New Year's edition. With the 18th overall pick, we have the Baltimore Ravens selecting Kaiir Elam, cornerback from Florida.
Yeah, you already know what time it is, man. Let's just sure up the secondary. I love and I know they got injuries all over the place right now terms of what they got going on. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, by the way. But can we get a Peters? Humphrey, and let's just throw Elam in there. And the way that they want to run their team, they want to do what they do. They want to blitz, cover 0, cover 1. They want to leave corners out there on the island by themselves. They want guys to get their hands on those guys and run along with them. And Elam is a perfect match for that. We don't live by that over here at CouchPotatoGym.com. We got a little bit more conservative, but in Baltimore, they want to bring the heat every play and maybe
you need to get there though, man. If you're going to every play, you need to get there. Jeez.
I was going to say maybe could have gone pass rusher here. But I just know what it is that they want to do and how they want to play their style, and they believe in who they have up front. And we told you guys, but you didn't want to listen. So,
I expect more from you, Drew, in your mock drafts. I expect better from you. I don't want to discredit Elam. Elam's a very good prospect, very, very talented prospect. It certainly makes sense based on Baltimore's identity.
MO.
Right? Yeah. I can very much see them making this particular selection. They need to get their offensive line together. Yeah. They need to get that addressed. You know what I mean? And I know in the last mock draft, they were further down. Obviously, they were earlier in the season. They had a better record. They were in the late 20s, if I'm not mistaken. You did have them selecting Kennard out of Kentucky, which I think was a very good pick for them in particular. But being in the mid of the first round, the allure of an Elam, in terms of what they like to do defensively, might be too much for them to pass up. I certainly understand that, but Baltimore really needs to get their offensive line situated. With the 19th overall pick, you have the Philadelphia Eagles, first of 3 picks, if I'm not mistaken, selecting Ahmad Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati. Your thoughts? Pairing him with Darius Slay, that's what you think?
Yeah, that's essentially what it is, man. The defense, they need some help on that side of the ball. They need a guy opposite Slay, and this is the guy to do it. I mean, he's all over the stats in terms of not allowing a touchdown his entire college career. I know it was this year for sure, and last year combined.
We'll see what happens against Jamison Williams, but
we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. But if he locks him up, bro, he might seal his fate in terms of being the first corner off the board. There's nothing that he can't really do. I think the only issue that I would have with him is that he's extra lanky, but I don't know if that's a problem. I'm just trying to find something. And he's a little handsy, but listen, for me, a handsy corner, I'll take that all day long. I have no issue with that. So that's a technique thing, and we can work that out later on. No issues.
All right. With the 20th overall pick, back-to-back picks for Philadelphia, you have them selecting David Ojabo, the edge from Michigan. Now, you mentioned him when you were discussing Aiden Hutchinson earlier. What do you like about Ojabo here?
It's just he's got a plan, bro, and it looks different every play, and he's got a high motor. I think the one thing that would separate him between Hutchinson and will separate him between him and Hutchinson is he doesn't have quite the power, right? He's doing it a little bit more with technique, with some speed off the edge, with some counter moves. But listen, I don't need you to have everything in the tool shed, bro. But I need you to bring your hammer, your screwdriver, bring the basics and be consistent with those basics. And that's what he does, man. Like I said, somebody need to be talking about who the D-line coach is for Michigan, for Michigan, bro, because the boy's doing work, bro.
21st overall pick in this 2022 NFL mock draft. You have Miami Dolphins on the clock, and you have them addressing the interior of their offensive line. I guess they get their pivot here in Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa. Now, there are people who would argue that Tyler Linderbaum should have been in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony. He's that good.
And I was gonna say, well, he's gonna go higher in
all likelihood, yes.
Yeah, barring an injury, bro. Knock on wood. He is this year's Quentin Nelson. I mean, that's just what he. I don't see a scenario where you can go wrong in terms of
that's
selecting
high
him. Just like
that is high praise.
Have you seen the tape, bro? Like
it's sexy.
The man's incredible, bro.
It's sexy.
When I watch offensive line, bro, usually the ones that I like, bro, are usually the tackles. Well, the guards and centers, I'm kind of like, okay. But if you can get me to continue to watch your tape. Game after game after game. I'm looking at you like you're a receiver, bro. That's not what offensive lineman is supposed to be for most people, bro. And if you can do that to me, bro, he's special, man.
Yeah, definitely. You got no argument. I didn't expect to Quentin Nelson.
Right. No,
he is special. He is special. And like I said, we have
Miami need it, bro.
Very absolutely. They absolutely need it. We have very respected guys that are in the NFL draft community that nationally, respected guys that really believe that he should have been invited to New York. He's that good. He's that good.
The problem with that is, bro, there's no stat to help offensive linemen, bro. That's the number one problem. When that is created, I don't know who's gonna create it. If that's created, bro, that'll change the game, bro. Just put it out there.
Yeah, I think PFF they're too hit or miss with some of their grading. That they don't get the same, it doesn't get the same universal appreciation and respect. You know what I'm saying? Because some of the people that are charting can get a little, and then of course they haven't let anybody kind of take a look behind the curtain with respect to their proprietary formulas or whatever the case may be, so that people can be like, okay, this is legitimate. You know what I mean? So, but there are some advanced statistics out there that gives you a better idea, gives the layman a better idea of how an offensive lineman is playing. As far as the tape is concerned, to your point, he's fantastic. He when offensive linemen jump off the tape to you, that's a guy. That's a GUI, capital GUI. With a 22nd overall pick in this draft, in this mock draft, you have the Patriots going with Jameson Williams out of Alabama, the speedster. Now, Bill Belichick has had his struggles identifying receivers in the draft.
Yeah.
Jameson, I don't know that a receiver's done more to help his stock than Williams. Transfer him from Ohio State. Apparently, he could get on the field, and then he goes and he just rips it up in Alabama. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought he was going to be a late bloomer. I didn't think he would slide into the first round. I figured he'd probably top off somewhere about mid to top of the second round, man. But you get enough TV time. You know what I'm saying? You play for Bama. You do what's asked of you, and the man has speed. And listen, this team is missing a spark in terms of guys that can catch the football and make a play, and Williams is that plus. And you can't have a traditional quarterback drop back every play and the guys not be reliable, or just a guy who can just make guys miss and turn a 10-yard route into a 30-yard touchdown.
Into an explosive game.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't have
that is exactly what they're missing. That's exactly what they're missing. They thought they were going to get it out of Agamore.
Right. It's just
Agahor just came down to earth. You know what I'm saying? Agahor has these peaks and valleys in throughout his career. You know what I'm saying? Kendrick Bourne is a guy who I think can make some plays as well, but just the consistency isn't there. You need a consistent guy. Not only do you need that explosiveness, but you need to put the fear in the opposition. And I think Williams, to your point, has that ability. With the 23rd overall pick, you have Philadelphia making their third first-round selection. You're going back to the defense yet again here with Devin Lloyd, linebacker from Utah.
Yeah, I'm not going offense. Listen,
if Philly, listen, before you get into Lloyd, if they get a job on, they get Sauce Gardner.
Bruh.
And Devin Lloyd, B?
Yeah, bro.
Bruh. Just go ahead and give him that A+ grade. Go ahead and just give it to him.
Don't worry about the rest of the draft. It's
every level. I'm telling you, man, every level of that defense, man, has gotten that much better, man. These are guys that are going to come in and make an immediate impact.
Yeah. And the thing is, the second level of Philly's defense might be the worst in the league.
It's been bad for a long time. It's been bad for a long time. Yes.
And listen, there are defenses where certain positions you're really not concerned about. Is not a big. You don't need a big time player. You need a guy to just do his part. But I don't think you can do that in this day and age and that not be exposed continuously over the time life of a game, right? Or a season in this case.
Sure. And
this is a guy who little smaller, a little slimmer, but a guy who is the new age linebacker, sideline to sideline, get downhill. Can beat offensive linemen to the blocks they're trying to make so he can make the play or just blow stuff up, man. Like, you need that guy, man. Like, every team should have that new age linebacker. There's no excuse why you don't have it. Right? Unless you're New England, who, they do what they want to do over there. But I think, like you said, every level of the defense, let's shore this thing up. Because offensively, man, they're good. They might need another receiver because people can't stand Reagor. I get it, but they're good over there, man. Let's get this defense squared away, because that's most of the time outside the play calling on offense is why y'all be losing games. So let's shore it up over here on the defense.
All right. With the 24th overall pick, you have the Arizona Cardinals selecting my guy, Roger McCreary, cornerback from Auburn. I'm a big McCreary fan. Your thoughts?
Yeah, man. Let's. Who's the corner on the other side? I can't think of it right now. What's my guy?
Byron Murphy.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. And you got Buddha.
Yeah, you got Buddha, right? So let's go ahead. I think this is an eyesore for these guys in terms of what they need defensively. And yes, McCurry is your guy. When I saw the name, I said, "Oh, juice, I like this one." But this is a guy I think that can play both man zone, and a guy who to me attacks the football. I think the only issue, well, there's a couple of issues, but one of the biggest issues I have with him, he just needs more snaps, bro. Just give him some more snaps. He just needs to play, man. And I think this is a guy who you can bring along slowly with the way they play defense over there, Arizona. I think this is a good match. For Arizona.
I like it, not just because it's a player that I'm a big fan of, but certainly I think you have the makings of a really, really impressive secondary if you drop McCreary into the mix, right? Opposite Murphy, who's really taking a step forward, and Buddha Baker, who's getting the respect that he deserves. You know what I'm saying? Right. He is certainly, again, from a national standpoint, I'm not sure, but within the league, they certainly understand what he brings to the table. You got some young players at the second level. Hopefully you can get J.J. Watt back here healthy, because I think he's still a difference maker. What happens with Chandler Jones remains to be seen. The only other area that I think, outside of pass rusher, the other area that I think that the Cardinals might try to address early is probably the interior of their offensive line. I think they need to get that shored up for Kyler Murray's sake. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it works out. But I'm a big fan of McCreary, and I really like this pick as well. Next up, with the 25th overall pick, you have the Buffalo Bills selecting Charles Cross, offensive tackle out of Mississippi State.
Yeah, and this is similar to the Baltimore thing, where in terms of what do we want to do, right? Defensively, obviously, Baltimore they want to play defense, they want to blitz and all that stuff. So let's add another secondary guy, corner. For Buffalo, listen. They're not going to run the football, right? So, listen, let's get a guy who's outstanding at pass rush, gets back to the set, and can handle most things that come his way. I mean, these boys just need help, essentially, on the offensive line in terms of pass protection, because they're just going to pass. They don't care. Like, we got Josh Allen. He can move around, make plays. And I think Cross would be a perfect fit for what Buffalo wants to do, man.
As much as they want to be aggressive and drop back, I think they're better when they get Singletary involved.
Come on,
they're
bro.
better.
Like,
they're better with slightly more balance. Like I don't ever expect this team to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Not with that howitz of an arm at the quarterback position and those perimeter threats, right? But just a little bit more balance would go a long way. But Charles Cross certainly fits what they're trying to do there. Yeah.
The ratio shouldn't be,
70-30.
Yeah, bro, like 80-20. In the Jacksonville game, it was like 90-10, bro. Like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. And you lost that game because of that.
That was a bad loss. That was egregious. You're absolutely right. It seems like they've settled back into Singletary.
Yeah, I think that Bucs game kind of realized, okay, we need to get it. We can't just drop back every play. So hopefully they stay with that formula, right? Right. They figured it out, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. With the 26th overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals. You got the Bengals making a nice deep playoff push here. Yeah, man. You got them selecting Trayvon Walker, edge out of Georgia. So I assume you're matching him up with Guy Hendrickson, and then you're just sending them. Sending them.
Let's get a nice little rotation. And this is when you look at the Bengals, man. Like, it's a team that, obviously surprised most people, and the defense. Offensively, we kind of knew what they were going to be as long as they let things go through Mixon. Defensively is the part where I thought, okay, it's gonna take some time. Maybe by season's end, we'll kind of see what it will look like. Nah, they was coming out the gates good. You know what I'm saying? They had some games that kind of fell off, and that happens for whatever reason. But just in general, man,
they got good players. They just got good players, man.
And so what do you do? Anytime that happens, what do? You just add to pass rush, or you add to your secondary. That's all you do. That's it.
There you go.
And Walker's a guy who can come off the edge clean. And let's get it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
there's no household names, but there's just such good football players. I mentioned Hendrickson. You got Ojanobi. You got Reeder. You got Logan Wilson at the second level. You got Bates on the back end. You know what I mean? I really like the way Chidobe Awuzie has kind of acquitted himself this year. He's bounced back. You know what I mean? It's just a collection of good football players. You drop another playmaker or a difference maker on the defense here, and to your point, as long as they don't get, some when you're playing Baltimore and they want to blitz all day, let Burrow sling it all over the yard. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take my one-on-one matchups.
Yes.
But when they commit to Joe Mixon, they are a different football team. They can beat anybody when they commit to Joe Mixon. Absolutely. Speaking of Joe Mixon, speaking of the running back position, you have the Tampa Bay Bucks. So Bucks are sitting at 27 here right now. Right now, they're sitting at the 27th overall pick. You have them selecting, I believe, your top running back in the class, Isaiah Spiller from Texas A&M. This is the third A&M player in the first round here. And the last mock draft, you had Kenneth Walker was your lone running back in the first round. Is it out of sight, out of mind with Kenneth Walker? What's going on here?
Nah, just give my boy some love, Spiller some love. Okay. That's all.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? No. Walker right there. But I would say this, and not to say he can't do it, because I think this will be thrown out there. Is can Walker catch the football consistently? I think he's fine, but we just haven't seen it, right?
Sure.
We know Spiller can, and we know he can run routes, right? So he gives you a little bit more there. And in terms of the Bucs, man, I think they found it in Leonard Fournette. I think Fournette has kind of revitalized that part of his game, or implemented that into his game, where he's be able to catch the football. He's been a better all-around back. Right, correct.
All-around back.
Yes, correct. Yeah. I think they need another guy that can count on. Ronald Jones still kind of brick hands. Keyshawn Vaughn. He might have the worst percentage ever in terms of catching a football. It's very small sample size, but that sample size ain't good, bro. Like, it's bad, bro. It's like a 13% is terrible in terms of catching the football. And Gio got hurt. So it's like, hey, we need a guy that we can count on. If Leonard Fournette, give him a spell, or if he gets hurt, we got a guy that we can actually count on in the passing game. And we know Spiller can run the football, so that's not even a question.
So sounds like to me, Fournette's back 2022. No doubt about it.
Bro, that's no doubt about it. Unless he wants some crazy salary, he got to come back, man. Hopefully Brady can talk to him, sit him down, and say, "Hey, man, stop. Just accept what they're giving you, and let's get this thing going." Now get your money, Fournette. Get your money.
I do not believe in drafting a running back in the first round and not making him the focal point of your rushing attack. I do not believe in that personally. But I understand what you're saying. Embarrassment of riches. You know what I mean? The Bucs brought back all of their starters on both sides of the ball. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're going to lose a ton of them. Although the Chris Godwin situation, I don't know if he comes.
No, they got him.
Antonio Brown's out. Chris Godwin remains. Okay, got you. So they have the luxury to go in this particular direction. But certainly, I think for me personally, I think it's more realistic that if they were to go running back in the first round, Fournette and Jones walks in free agency. With the 28th pick in your New Year's edition of the 2022 NFL mock draft, you have the Detroit Lions with their second first-round pick. You have them selecting Kenny Pickett out of Pittsburgh. Now, Pickett went second overall last time around. Again, you mentioned at the top, some things have changed, a little bit different here, but you still have Detroit getting their franchise guy moving forward. Your thoughts on Pickett and landing in Detroit in particular?
Yeah, I know they got Jared Goff. I think they got him for one more year. Pickett can chill, can watch Jared Goff fail. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's your guy. But you just learn behind him. There's no rush. And I think I'm really excited to see Kenny Pickett go to the Senior Bowl. I don't know if he'll play in the game or anything. I'd like to see him in some practices and maybe get an interview or two. Pickett, I'll let your boy. But this is a guy who took a Pittsburgh team who, nobody was really talking about Kenny Pickett. You know what I mean? And he was able to elevate himself. Nice arm. And the thing is listen, when you can sit back there and go through your reads and not feel, what's the word I'm looking for? You can go through your reads and from left to right, back to right to left. Whole field. Excuse me. There we go. Whole field. It goes a long way, man.
Remember the quarterback vision code in Madden? Shout out. R.I.P. John Madden. But Kenny Pickett's code is pretty big, man.
It's pretty big, man. It's pretty big, and he has the arm. He has the athleticism to play the position. And I think this is a guy who, if they get their guy on the defensive side up top, the beginning of the draft, down at the bottom of the draft, they can scoop themselves. If it's Kenny Pickett, if it's Malik Willis, those are the two I think that I would love to see in Detroit, either or. So if I wouldn't hate either or.
They can get a damn receiver or two in there. I mean, I obviously really love what we're seeing from Amon-Ra St. Brown. Right. I think he's playing great, and I thought that was a good selection. The value that they got for him. Let's get some more weapons out there. Let's get some more weapons on the perimeter.
Put some money in free agency after.
Hey man, whatever you got to do. Yep. If Dallas move off Amari Cooper, go get him. If they let Michael Gallup walk, go get him. You know what I mean? Get him. They need more talent on the perimeter. Again, that was always my pushback against going quarterback in Detroit. It wasn't necessarily that you can improve upon Jared Goff, even though I'm probably the last Jared Goff apologist alive. But I just don't know how effective most quarterbacks are going to be, especially, like I said, Amon-Ra St. Brown has really emerged here over the last month, right? Right. But, and bringing in Josh Reynolds, you get another competent receiver. I need that quintessential one. Maybe St. Brown's that guy ultimately, but I don't want, you've always said it. You've said it over the last few seasons. We want waves. We want to make it very difficult for your defensive backs to match up against our 3, 4, 5 deep at receiver. You know what I'm saying? We want to be able to run just about anybody out there who can beat man-to-man coverage. With the 29th overall pick, you have the Tennessee Titans selecting Nakobe Dean, linebacker from Georgia, another Georgia prospect here of that stellar defense. Dean to Tennessee. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and it'll be a discussion between him and Lloyd, who's the better linebacker. Sure. I think that Lloyd is just a little bit more productive. He's not playing on a defense that is souped up. The Georgia Bullets. You know what I'm saying? Right, so some of the things that Dean may have to contend with playing in the NFL, he might get a little bit more exposed, or and Lloyd, you kind of know what Lloyd is entirely versus Dean, who got some of that stuff masked because of the guys in front of him or around him. But I started them here with C because they at the second level, they don't have a guy who can come downhill, make plays in the hole with the splash and the flash that Dean has on a consistent basis. Let me say
consistent basis.
And this is a guy who obviously can play in coverage as well, but I just think they're kind of missing that up front. And it's a guy who, hey, you want to send that blitz. Hey, man, he ain't no stranger. You know what I mean? That's something that he's very adept at. And in this new NFL, in this NFL these days, linebackers got to be able to come downhill. You got to be able to time up blitzes. I think he's excellent at that. You got to be able to do that. If you can't do that, I mean, you better be very special in other places.
Other areas. Yeah. I actually really like Tennessee's collection of second level defenders. Problem is they can't stay healthy. That's to me, that's the biggest issue. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously a guy like Dean can vault that position group to another level. I certainly understand that, but I think they're actually in decent shape there. I think it's just a matter of those guys can't stay healthy, which is a problem, right? Availability is the best ability. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm certainly understanding of the Dean selection. 30th overall pick, you have the Dallas Cowboys selecting Jaquan Brisker, safety out of Penn State.
So when you talk about Dallas and you talk about the defense, at every level of the defense, there's a guy that is okay. That's a baller, right? I think at the safety position, I don't know that that's the case, right? It's a bunch of guys who are just kind of
serviceable.
It's a name. It's serviceable
players.
Right. They have a role that they play. Yep. There's nobody that's going to make a splash play back there unless someone else up front makes a play for them to make a play versus a guy who's just going to make a play. And Brisker, to me, this is a guy who I think he's best coming downhill, striking guys, reading what the quarterback's doing. But I also think he has the ability he has a little range to him. So I think he's versatile in that factor. And I think he's a safety for me who doesn't come off the field. I know you have the other guys who you can play, and I think you can kind of match up in terms of down and distance and what's going on in terms of the offense is what safety is going to play where down and distance, and Brisker can be the moving piece within that for me.
Gotcha. The 31st overall pick. In this 2022 NFL mock draft, you have the Kansas City Chiefs selecting receiver Drake London out of USC. Now, London obviously suffered an injury here. I think that may depress his draft stock a little bit here, but not enough to push him out of the first round. What do you like about London in Kansas City?
And maybe I'm wrong, and somebody get me down in the comment section a year after this, whatever. But I think London may end up being the best receiver in this draft. Okay? Yeah. I'll say this. It wouldn't surprise me. Let me just say that. I mean, let me hedge my bet there a little bit. Let me hedge a little bit.
Yeah.
Because and I've seen this comparison. People say he's similar to Mike Evans. And from a size standpoint, I understand it. From a reach standpoint, wingspan standpoint,
radius,
I get it. But the one thing that he has that is
after
special,
the catch. Yeah.
Like, and you look at him, you're like, nah, he ain't got it. Nah, we'll just tackle him. No, because could you imagine Mike Evans with the ability to make people miss?
Sure. That's a problem. That's a problem.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a problem.
So enter in Drake London. And one of the biggest problems with KC is, again, I've talked about it probably 4 times, 5 times with different teams, but it's just the reliability of the receivers, man. You got Byron Pringle, you got Hardman. Like, they've been trying. Who is the next guy? They just, okay, well, this guy's got speed. This guy can make people miss. But damn, can you catch the damn football? Can you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think London can be that guy for them.
And with the final pick in Drew's 2022 NFL mock draft, New Year's edition, 32nd overall pick, the Green Bay Packers. You have them selecting a receiver as well, David Bell of Purdue. Now, obviously, we've been calling for a receiver a long time. And, of course, people are coming out of the woodwork talking about, Rodgers has always had plenty of weapons. Look at MVS and Lazard. And the narrative was very different. The people were just waiting. They were just waiting to be able to come out and say, no, they have plenty of weapons. I think it's the same people who were claiming that they didn't have the weapons now saying that. But anyway, David Bell, Green Bay. Rodgers may not necessarily be there. So I don't know that you're going to have somebody who can raise an MVS or an Alan Lazard. What do you like about Bell here landing in Green Bay?
Well, there's
Devontae Adams
there. Yeah, is he going to be there? You know what I mean? And obviously they can franchise tag him and all that stuff. I get it, but let's just assume Green Bay usually doesn't play those games, right? And if I'm Adams and I'm assuming this is how he's thinking, damn, if I don't have a quarterback that can get me the football, why would I stay here, right? And whether he stays or not is
I think Rodgers is going to be back. I do. I think
it's a moot point for me, but just I think they have to go receiver regardless. And David Bell gives you a different play style in terms of we know what Adams is, a route runner, got a little ability after the catch, but David Bell has ability after the catch. You can throw it in his area and he can contort and move his body around to go up and get the football. And I don't know, and I said this for the past 4 or 5 years, I don't know that Green Bay can pass up this pick and not go receiver and convince their fan base that we don't need a receiver. We can go elsewhere because the defense is coming along as far as I'm concerned. Matter of fact, they've arrived. Okay.
Yeah. When you don't have guys like Zadarius Smith and Jair Alexander in your lineup for large periods of time, and you're still playing good, sound, quality defense, Eric Stokes has really helped mitigate the issues on the back end. Love the way Adrian Amos plays. Kenny Clark is a monster up front. Like, and your boy Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary has flipped the switch.
Bro.
He's flipped the switch. It's impressive. So to your point, the areas that really hurt Green Bay, and we'll see because Chubb got him this past week. You know what I mean? You know, has really been the run defense. You know, they've had some letdowns in terms of their back end with the guy opposite Alexander, Kevin King, whatever the case may be. But I've always felt like if you could contain Devontae Adams, you win offensively. You know, from a defensive standpoint against Green Bay's offense. David Bell creates a certain level of frustration, assuming you have Adams. If you don't have Adams, then he's part of that battery to replace that production, to help mitigate that particular loss. To your point, defensively, I think they can be championship caliber. And then they can be championship caliber, to your point. Yeah. Well, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for Drew's 2022 NFL Mock Draft, New Year's edition. Let him know what you think down in the comments. Guys, check out the links in the description, whether it be BetUS, whether it be that piece I wrote for NFL Mocks. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. We always enjoy your comments. We'll get back to you, but make sure that you like and subscribe. For Drew, this is Juice signing off till next time.